So we're back and we're here with another review. It has been a little while just because there hasn't really been all that much releasing, but we're here with a new film, and that's Hitman, which has just released on Netflix. So let's look at some footage.
No, no, I don't buy it.
What?
You're not a hitman.
So Hitman is a 2024 film directed by Richard Linklater, and it's also written by Linklater along with the star Glen Powell. And it follows the story of Gary Johnson, who was a professor, but he also moonlighted with the New Orleans Police Department. So the film is technically based on a true story. Gary Johnson was an actual person. He was a Vietnam War veteran. He did help the New Orleans Police Department. He was a professor. But the film makes it very clear that it's taking some liberties with the actual story. So the film is starring Glen Powell and Adria Ajona, and as I mentioned, it follows this professor of Gary Johnson as he goes through these sting operations and learns to play a hitman himself, but ends up falling for a certain client that contacts him. Now, this is actually the second time I've seen this film, because I had the great pleasure of seeing it back at Venice Film Festival in 2023. When I was at the festival, it was kind of getting a bit of buzz because I'd seen it about 2 or 3 days after its first screening. But I mean, I was there, love Richard Linklater's film, so I knew I had to go and see it. And it was a really, really special experience. I think it's actually one of the top 5 movie experiences of my life. And my friends David and Julie will probably back me up on that one. But we are here now. It released on Friday on Netflix because Netflix actually purchased it, I believe, at Toronto Film Festival, because this film did not have a distributor. And we'll get to a little bit of what I think of the actual distribution of this film a bit at the end, but let's actually get into the meat of the film. So we have this set up, and that doesn't really lay out what this film really is, because you could read that in a very serious tone and you could think, oh, this is kind of like crime thriller, but it's not. This is, for all intents and purposes, kind of a rom-com. But whilst being a rom-com, it also takes a lot from the noir genre, and it's very meta and it's very self-aware. It's poking fun at a lot of different things. But if I had to put one kind of label on it, it's probably that of a romantic comedy. And that's not a bad thing. When they're done well, they're really fun, they're really serviceable, they're really enjoyable experiences. And this is what we really have here, and it's mainly down to the script. As I said, Linklater collaborated with Powell on this script, and frankly, I'm really impressed that Powell has these kind of writing chops, because this is a really, really smart, funny, and, excuse me for using the word, very sexy script. It's constantly engaging, it's never boring, it's always witty, and it's just really, really, really well done. Linklater himself is known as someone who is just probably the king of dialogue-driven films, and the film does rely a lot on its dialogue exchanges in these films, and it's Linklater at his best yet again. I'll go to the supporting cast first, and they're all really, really good, with the standout being the co-lead, Adria Ajona. I'd seen a little bit of her in Andor first and thought she was really good screen presence, really good at portraying emotion and heavy stuff like that. But she's got to work off Powell in this with a certain kind of charm and comedic timing. And she's really, really great. She's really up to the task in this one. But I want to focus on the main man himself, Glen Powell. When is Hollywood just going to make this guy their movie star? He's begging for it at this point. He kind of stole the show in Top Gun Maverick last year. He worked with Linklater before, and everybody wants another great performance. And he's showing here that he's not just a pretty face. In this film, he gets the opportunity to play lots of different characters because he's playing different hitmen, and they're all really individualistic and they all really stand out. They're really funny, and Powell is just oozing charisma the entire runtime of this film. He's a delight, and he just really deserves to now shoot up to that next level of stardom, which I would love to see him in something a bit more serious, maybe like an actual crime thriller. But he seems to like these sort of romantic comedies. He had Anyone But You earlier in the year. The less said about that, the better. But yeah, I'm stating, it's time. Hollywood, make it happen. Glen Powell, make him the new Timothée Chalamet. So to come back to the film itself, it's not very long at all. It goes just under 2 hours. And honestly, it kind of just flies by because, as I said, the script is so engaging. The pacing is so well done. It's directed so well. Even watching it the second time, I did not feel the runtime at all. It's just a really, really, really fun film. And that sounds like I'm being a little bit reductive, but I'm not, because there's nothing wrong with having a film which is just fun. In fact, I think we need a little bit more of those. And this is also just a really, really well-made film. It's by a great director. I keep hearing on about the script, but it's a really great script. And this should be the level of, I guess, popcorn entertainment that we really expect and deserve. And then that brings me down to my kind of gripe with this. It's such a shame that this did not get a theatrical release. As I mentioned earlier, I got to see it in Venice. Granted, that's where the film festival crowd, those are people who are going to the festival for films, and they're also choosing to go to this film because they're interested in films by Richard Linklater. But this was in the biggest venue there were thousands of people in attendance, and it was just incredible as an experience goes. There's a certain scene in this film, and you'll probably know when it hits, where when it ended, the entire cinema just cheered together in unison. And leaving the screening, it was one of those where you could just feel the energy around everyone there, that everyone really, really had a great time. And you just don't get that at home. And I understand some people prefer to have the convenience of sitting down at home, curling up on their sofa and being able to watch a film in their own time. But I feel like this could have been one that audiences really connected on, because it seems like unanimously across the board, people are really enjoying it. And it would have been a really good night out at the theatre for everyone, I think. But at the same time, in the same breath, I do say this is a good way for this film to get seen. Maybe less people would have actually gone to see it, because I guess Powell isn't the biggest star yet, and Richard Linklater isn't exactly a household name for regular folk. So it's a bit of a balancing act. I think I would have liked to have seen it get a theatrical release and then go to streaming pretty quickly, kind of like Anyone But You did, I guess. But yeah, pretty much everyone and their dog has a Netflix subscription, or knows someone that does, at least. This is a great film. It's light, it's funny, it's sexy, it's really entertaining. It's kind of the perfect Friday night movie to order some takeout and watch it with your friends, with your significant other, or alone. So as always, if you stayed with me for this long, thank you for watching. If you'd like to hear more of what I have to say about this film, about things I've seen in the previous week, you can catch me live on the Adlib podcast on Monday evening. That's 7:30 p.m. in the UK or 8:30 p.m. in Malta. We'll definitely be talking about Hitman over there and some other things I've seen. I've finished a few TV shows this week. If you could, get involved in the comment section. Tell me if you've seen Hitman, if you want to see Hitman, even if you don't want to see it, I guess, but I don't know why you'd be engaging there for that reason. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, tell your friends, all of it really helps. And until I see you next time, remember that all pie is good pie, and thank you for watching.